In a galaxy riddled with conflict, dusted with the ruins of forgotten wars and fractured promises, sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't a cannon, a fleet, or a flag. It's a person with a mission. This is Captain Hope, 32 years old, sharp, seasoned, determined. A woman forged in vacuum silence and supply routes, known across the settled systems not for violence, but for showing up, for getting the job done when no one else will. Her ship? The T-45 Pioneer's Oath, an old-world giant, a veteran of the colony wars, built like a tank and scarred by decades of frontline chaos. Once abandoned, rusting away in the hangar graves of Neera's orbit. Now, reborn. 5 years ago, Hope found her, broken, burnt out, left to rot. But where others saw a ruin, Hope saw promise. She took every job she could, every run, every contract. Cargo hauls, refugee transport, supply deliveries across pirate space. Every mission paid for a piece of restoration. A thruster here, a shield bank there, a promise kept every step of the way. Today, the Pioneer's Oath flies again. Fully operational, beautifully weathered, and beating with new purpose. Equipped with the brutal DBC-10 direct-fire cannon, FC-32 DBA dual-barrel flak auto turrets, and a payload of DSA Mark X Annihilator missiles. This cruiser may be peaceful in its mission, but it can absolutely hold its own if challenged. Driven by twin Warp 2 engines, the T-45 glides like a flagship, but delivers like a freighter. Inside, it's a whole other world. Luxury accommodations for travelers, ample storage for critical supplies, reinforced systems for long-range jumps. It's not just a ship, it's a haven between the stars. Hope and her crew don't just carry cargo, they carry connection. Medicine for outposts no one remembers, engineers for broken settlements, children returning home. Her name isn't just a call sign, it's a reputation. If Hope's coming, help is on the way. She's not in this for glory. She doesn't have time for romance. She's got her crew, her mission, and her ship. And for them, she's a beacon, a captain who works harder than anyone, flies straighter than anyone, and brings light where others bring fear. This is the T-45 Pioneer's Oath, and this is the story of a captain who rebuilt the past to serve the future. Stick with me, and I'll take you inside the build that keeps Hope's mission alive. Panel by panel, turret by turret, thruster by thruster. This isn't just a Starship showcase. This is a tribute to resilience, loyalty, and the soul of what it means to fly with purpose. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to my channel, World Gone Mad. Today, we will be bringing you a Starfield modded shipbuilding tour, with a shipbuilding tutorial at the end. Thank you for choosing to watch the video. We will now begin the tour. found the video valuable and believe it's deserved, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support helps the channel grow and allows us to continue creating content. Please leave any comments or thoughts below, and we read every comment. Thank you for being part of the community. Please see the following mods that were used in this build. Pause the video if you need to. All the mods and especially the halves are subjective, so you can change these to suit your own internal preferences. If you have any suggestions or improvements, please let me know. If you have any questions regarding the build or the mods used, leave a comment below. notification when we have new content uploaded. Take care, keep safe, and we look forward to seeing you soon.